It's fucking 2022. It sucked. 2022 has been a rough year. I'm going to give you guys a dose of reality medicine. The world on average is a better place. It's just better. Negative stuff is what sells in the news and is what gets people to click on things. If you want an honest opinion of stuff, realize that in 2022, you should be very lucky to be alive. It's not a shit year. It's not a bad year. There might be like some banger year from like the 90s that was better, some year from the early 2000s. But in general, all things are better. And if you don't believe me, you can look at any number of large data sets about overall violence in the world. Oh, but there's the war in Ukraine. It's like, yeah, but it's still like a less violent year than many years before. People seem to misunderstand this. It's like, yes, there are famines. Yes, there's violence, but a lot of this stuff is trending downwards over the years. One of the things that's really interesting is that the like bad things that occur in the world, all of us are now aware of. Like everyone was aware of the conflict between Ukraine and Russia. People weren't even that aware of like, people wouldn't know about a conflict like that a long time ago. People just wouldn't know. What about things like housing and cost of living? Housing and cost of living where? I guess what I'm wondering is like, what years or time period do you think are better than like right now? I feel like you guys are saying like these times were better to buy a house. Okay, well, it was like better to buy a house, but what about medicine at that time? How good was entertainment at that time? How good was medicine at the time? What was life expectancy at that time? What about mortality rates? Like, I think people get attached to this idea of like things getting worse when, again, if you look, like, sure, there's some things that like look worse, but like you should look at surveys of people's happiness as the one true measure. I disagree with that. I actually think that like we're probably less happy as a people, probably because we know too much. Medicine did advance through World War I and II. Yeah, medicine also advanced a lot since then. Life expectancy went down due to COVID in 2020. Yeah, I mean, like I would agree that like there's obviously like, you know, dips where it's like, and maybe not focus on 2022, but I think the way I would consider it is this. If you look at general human well-being, and again, I'm not saying year to year because someone's going, actually it went up this year. If you look at general human well-being, if you look at how much violence we commit, how much we and murder people, if you look at our access to education, if you look at some of these like very big broader trends, we're doing like we as people are doing better typically year over year.